Hello, welcome to another Writerly Witterings. I've got papers to talk about today. I've been promising this for a while. Notepads. Okay, I'm now talking about the notepads that I personally use because I think they're great. First off, when I'm out and about doing things, I need something that's light, easy to fit in a pocket, doesn't take up too much space, and is with me all the time because it's so small and convenient. That's what these are. These are Midori Traveller's Notebooks, made in Thailand. The Traveller's Company Japan, it says. Traveller's Notebook. They are gorgeous because they're tactile. It's nice to hide your face, isn't it? They're tactile, they're functional, and they're pretty much bulletproof. Anything that goes wrong, you can fix them. This one, for example, comes with a bookmark. Nice bookmark. The bookmark is fitted to the Traveller's Notebook with this little tin piece of thing. My bookmark fell apart, so I prized it open with a flat screwdriver, shoved in a bit of thick saddler's thread of some sort, crimped it back with a pair of pliers, and it's as good as new. Fantastic, fantastic, simple, really simple, but very, very efficient. And the great thing about Midori is you can get a fabulous selection of different types of paper for it. You can get Midori's own, or Traveller's Notebook's own. You can get the wonderful, and I really can't stress this enough, they are wonderful, Bandit Apple notepads from Vietnam. Bandit Apple make just fantastic paper. There's also a wonderful company in the UK called Midori, or the Citrus Bindery. And these fellows produce some of the loveliest paper. So for example, Midori, there's one of theirs. Simply stitched, very efficient, lovely paper. So you have a wide variety of choice there. But when I get back from being out, I've made notes of people chatting, I've made notes of locations, I've made sketches perhaps of different locations. When I get home, I need something different, because what I need then is a notepad that I can keep records in, and A4 I find is too big. So I go to Leuchtturm for their wonderful papers, which are dated, or you can date, and numbered. And then in the front, there's a content section, so you can state what page number deals with which aspect of the story. This grey one gets all of, you can see it's halfway through now, gets all of my ideas that I want to keep from this, come in this, and then I keep a running record of different ideas for books. If I'm working on a book, this is the one I use, which is the same type of thing, but this is a dot grid. And this gives me space to develop characters and themes and plots with the book I'm working on at the time. I also have these two. Ignore the golden colour. These two are my diaries. Green for this year, gold for next year. No particular reason, I just fancied a gold one as a difference. But page on the left hand side gives you the 7 days of the week, and on the right hand side you have a blank page for making notes and comments and so on. I find these fabulously useful. So that's a quick run through. Probably a good idea to get onto things. Oh, I must just mention, in case you're interested, it would be very useful for those who are keen on following this channel and supporting it. If you want to, down the bottom there's a link for Patreon. Patreon means that I get funded slightly for getting the different things I need to make the channel. It means you get additional information, more videos and so on. So if you're interested in that, please go down the bottom, have a look at the Patreon link, see what you reckon, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Apart from that, it's now time to go and look at some paper. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in a minute. Right, now to start. And first, I've got to give an apology to TWSBI Go, because I picked up this to start writing with Sierra, but it wouldn't work. I normally try just to make sure that these pens are functioning before I start a video, but I couldn't get anything to come out of it at all. I was really disappointed, and I was going to think, oh dear, I've got to make a comment about TWSBI Goes and how inefficient they are, and then I realised that it had run out of ink. So I've now refilled it. That one's ready. I'm going to reload this with Bay State Blue in a minute. Well, here we've got a sheet of paper. I might as well use that. This is page 245 from my Leuchtturm book, and obviously I've taken a sheet out at some point, cut it in half, made a note for someone else, and then just kept this. So let's just write the quick. Quite interesting trying to write something over the back of a camera, because you've got to stand quite a way away and try to keep an eye on things and make sure that it's staying in focus, that you're not getting a break problem. And now, having written that, I'm just going to demonstrate something else. Now, before I continue, one thing I do have to do is just show you this. Because, as you know, a few weeks ago I went on a trip with the Smithsonian Journeys group. I was their expert talking about crime writing and the history of Devon and Dartmoor and how people write and all sorts of aspects of things. And you can see here that this is working really rather nicely. This pen, with this highlighter ink, Pelikan M205 Duo highlighter, was filled before I went with the Smithsonian Journeys group, and I used it every day while I was there, which is up until about 2.5 weeks ago, and I haven't touched it since. So the fact that it starts, and it did start without any problems whatsoever, I find really impressive. I wasn't expecting highlighter ink to be quite so easy and free flowing. So there you go. Leuchtturm paper, I think, is exceptionally good. It works really, really well. Does it show through? There's a slight amount of show through with the noodlers. I'm not entirely surprised, because the TWSBI Goes are gushers and I've only just filled them, so that's pretty much par for the course. It's not a surprise that it shows through fairly well, but even so, this paper I find to be absolutely excellent and well worth the expense. And there goes a pen. Hey ho. Right, so let's have a look at the Midori Traveller's Company. First of all, let's have a look at this one. This is going to be a daily carry that is for sketching and drawing. So here, for example, there are a couple of sketches, not a particularly exciting sketch, not a particularly exciting sketch. Never mind, it was just something I had with me and I wanted to use it. At the same time, I also have a Midori notebook at the front, which is plain paper, and it's not particularly thin. I would say it's about 80 GSM probably, but it is beautiful plain paper. And what I like about this is I will often start doing notes and ideas and then do sketches while I'm writing. So it's various ideas that I can use. But I do love these simple plain leather covers. They're gorgeous. This is an older one. I've used this for a long time. This one has been all around the world with me. Again, it's a Midori, made in Thailand. And this has a whole bunch of, let me just show you at the back. I don't want to give away people's private phone numbers and so on. So I've got business card slots. These were just liberated from an old diary of my wife's. I then have Tyvek This is an envelope which I've cut in half and left the flaps folded over so that I can then use it to hold various things down here. Also hold a ruler, pencil. Just a magnificent little pencil, really strange, but beautiful piece of design. I also keep business cards of my own and other people's here. I've got space for glue dots, a little bit of money, nothing much else really, sadly. And then we have the notepads. Now, let's just put this into perspective. You'll see this is beautifully coloured, this sheet of blotting paper. The reason for that is I was camping earlier this summer and I left my notepad in the tent and the tent got blown upside down. So it's quite interesting to see that, well, Kelly green doesn't work too well. I think that's Kelly green. Could be another colour, but one of the diamine greens didn't take to the water too well, whereas this was really quite happy about it. I was surprised. So, different types of ink. Midori. Now, what's good about these things is that you have a huge selection of different people you can go to. These, for example, are not Midori. You can tell they're not Midori because on the back they're beautifully stitched. I got these from a small Vietnamese firm. I've also got this, which came from a brilliant company called the Citrus Bindery, and they make their own notepads with fantastic paper. The company calls itself Citridori, and I can thoroughly recommend them. Their paper is just fantastic, really, really good. The bindings are very strong. They do all kinds of different notepad and paper. This is just fabulous watercolour paper, which I'm really looking forward to using. I haven't had a chance to yet. Let's try standard traveller's notebook paper, and now, if you're wondering why Vietnam should have good paper, it's because Vietnam used to be part of French Indochina, and as I understand it, quite a lot of colonial companies were set up by people who had been involved in paper production and so on in France. And so not only did you get gorgeous boulevards and so on in Vietnam, in the main cities, you also had wonderful manufacturing plants where they produce paper to the same quality as you'd get in Paris. And this is beautiful quality paper. Look at that. Absolutely no show through whatsoever, no shadowing, nothing whatsoever. If we go to the Midori paper, slight amount of shadowing, slightly more than you get here, but really irrelevant. It's not going to give anybody any problems when they're trying to write on that. So there you are. We've tested Midori paper, we've tested some Vietnamese paper, I've shown you the citrus paper, I've shown you the Citridori papers, we've looked at a wonderful selection of Leuchtturms, and what more can I say, basically? The Vietnamese company, before I forget, is called Bandit Apple. Bandit Apple. A strange name. But the lovely thing about their work is, there you can see the red stitching goes all the way down, which I think is a lovely touch. The Bandit Apple paper, certainly I wouldn't hesitate to recommend to anyone. It's lovely, lovely paper. The Midori Traveller's Notebook paper is also lovely. Here is one, but the difference is that with Midori Traveller's Notebooks, they're stapled, which is fine. It works perfectly adequately, but it's just a little bit of a shame when you compare it to the gorgeous Bandit Apple papers. Now, you can get Midori papers which have been produced with Tomo River. So you can get the 52 GSM very, very fine light grade paper, and it's brilliant. I can thoroughly recommend it. But the main thing really is The notepad you buy has to be the notepad you're going to use. These things are with me 24 hours a day. I always have it to hand and I can always make a note. And they don't let you down. I think this is just wonderful. They're tactile, they're gorgeous, they still smell good. And so there you go. Out and about, Midori. Sitting indoors, Leuchtturm. And with those two, I have all of the note-taking capacity I need. Right, thank you very much for watching. Hope that was interesting. Don't forget there's a Patreon link down the bottom. There's comments section. There's bell button if you want to be notified. Hit the subscribe, hit the share and all those good old things. And in the meantime, I'll go back to a cup of tea, I think. Take care. Cheers. No, I'm finished. Go away.